I'm very sorry I'm late, everybody. Got a way to get the meeting started. Could we stay and say pledge allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to open the meeting.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, couple of comments again tonight. Everybody will get a chance to speak at any of the hearings that we have allowed to be able to speak. 5 minutes to the speakers and only one time getting up. I'm going to take the meeting in order. I've had some requests to take it out of order, but I am going to leave it in order. I'm sorry about that, but that's just because of the way the people are and the things are set up here. I'm leaving the way this is set up in order. So, in other words, number 2, that's my comments for tonight. Number 2, Form A, 207 and 245 Page Street, map 94, lots 42 and 43, Milton Realty Properties, reauthorization of Form A plan, original signed on January 13, 2022. We're taking that. That's already done.
We're taking that. Mr. Chairman, the engineer found the surveyor found the Mylar, and even though it was 6 months old, the registry recorded it, so we don't need to sign it.
We're good. Item number 3, site plan reviews, case file SP 25-008, and special permit case file SPP 25-003 is located at 576 Pleasant Street, assessors map 68, lot 188, in the general business zoning district. Corvo Companies requests a site plan review under section 10.6 to construct a 3-story, 52,515 square foot mixed-use building consisting of 43 apartments and 1,220 square foot retail space with parking, landscaping, drainage, and other site improvements. The special permit request per section 3.1.4.A.10 to allow mixed-use building in the general business zoning district. The public hearing was closed on October 23, 2025. Planning Board will deliberate the findings and conditions of approval. Votes may be taken. All right. At this point in time, does anybody have any comments based upon where we are with the special permit provisions and where we need to go for a vote, and suggestions for a vote? Richard? Anything? I want comments. I'm looking for comments.
My comments are that I'm concerned about the traffic, despite the fact that I've read both the applicant's traffic report and the peer review report. And what I see on a daily basis, because I travel that road quite often, and regardless of time of day or week of day, or day of week, traffic is backed up to that location that's being proposed, and as far back as Pine Street. And that's a strong concern that I have. My other concern is that although we have a bylaw which allows this under special permit, the town master plan was voted upon by the entire town. Several thousand people voted this in favor of high-density properties in the center of town. The bylaw was approved by 168 people, and that is concerning to me as well. I think a town-wide vote, in my opinion, at least, is the deciding factor for me. So, those are my comments.
Paul?
I've been reviewing this quite consistently, and checking rules with the state, et cetera. Unfortunately, the situation is that I don't feel legally that we can stop any of this. My concern is with the town of Stoughton in general, that we allowed a situation like this to take place. I know you have some nice developments, and I voted for one before. I see that I see this neighborhood and I see this building going in, and I don't see how it's cohesive to that area. I've looked at other places in other towns. Sometimes when they squeeze something in like that, they go to great lengths to make sure that the architectural style, maybe not as many floors, just to make it blend in so that everybody feels comfortable with it, as comfortable as they can be with that. But the other concerns too, like I said before, I think it's like you found this piece of land that's general business. Shame on us for not changing it. You can get that apartment building in there, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be a done deal. That's about it.
I have similar feelings. I like the builder. I like the projects he's done around town. I don't like this location. And it does meet the criteria, which kind of forces our hand. I have a big issue too, and one of my colleagues too, with the commercial space, which is what, 300 square feet or whatever. If we're going to go by this mixed use, that the whole first floor should be commercial, mixed, commercial property. To squeeze this little corner in to, get around it, that's something I think we need to look into in the future too.
Okay. Again, same thing, I have comments, and this is the second project. Atkinson Extension was the first that I'm aware of the builder has done, and was not offered to any consideration for affordable housing. Other builders that come into the town have to satisfy their 10% requirement. And what this does is, as a town, we are past the 10%. So you're reaping the benefits of other builders that have met that goal. Well, this is your second building, and what happens is you have no consideration for affordable housing. We're going to be back in that same boat again, and someone else is going to be penalized. Right? The traffic flow, as previous members on the board talked about, Park Street in that area is a very tight section of, Pleasant Street is a very tight area right there. I also noticed that I purposely came through there a couple of times at night. For some reason, that section is a very dark section. And I noticed further down on Pleasant Street, down near Pine Street, you see a light on every single pole. You get into that area, it's spaced out. So you talk about traffic coming down that street. Again, a dark area, potential for more accidents at night. The adequate of utilities or other public services. Yes, there was a water survey done and all that, and as the members of that area have spoken up, they have poor water pressure. I worked for a company, my specialty was clean water systems, and I know the effect of when you take water off the main. Sure, you can add a pump for your building so the fourth floor gets adequate power pressure. What happens is the people before that, you're sucking water off of that pipe, their pressure's going to drop down even further. So I'd have to look at the drawing again to see which water main it's coming off. There's a 6, an 8, and a 12-inch main there. Again, I didn't see on the drawing where it was. So I have that. The biggest thing, and this is why I am totally not in favor of this is a residential neighborhood. Yes, the property has been zoned general business, but the builder is circumventing the law by constructing a 3-story, 52,515 square foot mixed-use building consisting of 43 apartments and only 1,200 for retail space. And basically, that whole bylaw, the way it was written, was to be within the center of downtown. Now, we've had other buildings be put in downtown that use that first floor, again, for business. This here, whatever business you put in there, I have no idea. I have no idea how many cars are gonna go there. So that would be my biggest concern. It does not, and again, the building, a commercial building of this size, would not fit into the neighborhood character, not in a residential neighborhood. And that's my biggest comments.
I want to thank the board. You guys have put a lot of time and effort into this, and the thoughts, we put it through a lot of meetings. I want to thank the applicant because they did put a lot of time and effort into the engineering. I think we could get to a point of being ready for a vote. However, I'm not sure we're at a point where we could get the criteria either positive or negative at this point in time, depending on how the vote goes. We would have to be able to come up with what we're voting on. I guess we're voting against the project or voting for the project. We need to be able to meet the 6 criteria for the special permit. So I'm just thinking, will we hold it to the next one, and we can actually come up with 2 different scenarios, or at least a scenario that we could actually vote on? It appears right now, if I'm looking around just as a straw vote, we're not going to get 4 votes for what I'm looking at. We need to have 4 votes for this, 4 affirmative votes. Am I correct?
How about if I make a motion that we vote it down?
I would actually hold off on that. I would recommend, I've spoken with town council, I've spoken with the chairman. I think tonight is to express your concerns and findings. You know, and why you wish to deny this, clearly, you know, because it's from several other folks. And then I need to get with the minutes and the video and get with town council to help, you know, try to fashion a decision. I think that with the information that you've provided, I think that I would strongly encourage, and I know that I've repeated this over the years, the special permit criteria, you know, is very specific. Mr. Murphy's the only one that he mentioned the criteria, and then he put his findings to it. Whether those are sufficient or not, I don't know. Not in keeping with the neighborhood. Well, it's zone general business. The thing that the zoning for mixed uses for the downtown, well, that's actually incorrect. General business is, the downtown is not zone general business. It has never been zone general business. It was zoned the Schmood before the Stoughton Center District. They have specific mixed-use guidelines in a separate section of the code in the core for first floor, which, you know, I know that, you know, Mr. Demuse mentioned. It was town meeting at some point in time, or whomever, you know, the code, you know, allowed mixed use, you know, for residential and a commercial element in general business. Well, general business, if you look at the map, it's spotted all over the town. And so, and I know there's been arguments regarding mixed use as more of a downtown transit. You know, that's the reason why we created the Stoughton Center District, you know, that encourages mixed use, encourages residential, it uses the transit. However, that can't be used as a reason to deny this because, you know, it's for the downtown. General business, as you look, and I've looked at the map in great detail, it's all over. This is, you know, this general business area is what, I don't know, 12 acres. Not even, like, some of the other general businesses or areas are 3, 4, 5, 6 lots along a road. So I would ask that, you know, everyone has seen the criteria for denial, for special permit. You know, they need to be in concert with that. The issue with the water, you have, I feel that would be a difficult finding when we have the water superintendent and the engineer, the water engineer that runs our water service, explain the difference between pressure and volume, and says that, even taking volume off isn't going to reduce the pressure. It's that there's plenty of volume and not pressure. I'm not an engineer. I'm not going to get into it. But there was an in-depth finding and on that.
To let you know my background, I worked at one particular building, and we had a water system, and we were going through 100 gallons of water, 150 gallons of water per minute. And what happened was we were taking off, this is up in Framingham, and we started off going through filtering systems. And what happens is, on the main system, we could not do that in the evening because Poland Springs Distribution Center was about a mile away, and we were both fighting for water. So I know what water systems are, I know what the pressure is, and I've seen water pipes and how they clog up. So you may have a 6-inch main, and if you take that 6-inch main, cut it, you're probably down to a 3-inch main because it's all stuff.
Unless
gets
it's been
inside it.
relined or cleaned or any
Right.
of those sorts of things.
And the other aspect of this is, okay, if this is zoned general business, keep it general business, not an apartment building.
But to understand, that general business zoning allows that particular product. It's in the zoning code that says general business allows mixed use.
Okay.
Okay, it's already there. So he's not asking for a variance to the code, he's not asking for a change, or he's not trying to cut corners. That's what the code says. The town created the code, and that's what the code says.
Right, but with that respect, the character of the neighborhood is now affected by this large apartment building in there, and where they only put 1,200 square feet for a business. That, to me, I said it in my email, you're circumventing the system. If this was downtown,
But there's no specifics for this area. There's no specifics for the general business. Downtown is, like the planner said, downtown is a different animal because it's a different part of the zoning code.
But I will stick to your point. The mixed use is a special permit, so it's not permitted as of right. I hear one of the findings from several of the members is that after, you've approved a mixed use building with only 600 square feet, but in hindsight and looking at that, you feel that, that a higher percentage needs to be commercial and that this isn't true mixed use.
correct.
Okay. That could be a finding.
Yeah.
Whether that's a finding that stands up in court, I don't know. But that can be a finding because that's directly related to the specific use.
Right.
Out of character with the neighborhood might be difficult because it is zoned general business.
Right. Now, I'm going to go back to your building drawing. And what I see is the handicap spots that you have. You have 2 handicap spots that are down underneath the building. And for what reason, they seem to be the furthest away from the elevator, which in consideration for handicapped accessibility, you would think you would want those spots closer to the elevator. So someone in a wheelchair is having difficulty walking should be closer. And one other question I would have to the builder, how many units in the building are built out as handicap accessible? I mean, just because they have the parking spots doesn't mean that the units are handicap accessible.
And one of that is a function of, I don't think, I don't know if the chairman can allow new testimony. I will let you know that the handicap, sometimes the building commissioner during the building review will review that and says, oh, those have to be moved over. We see it all the time. We see, the handicap, that has to be moved over here. And typically it's a very minor change. We just handle it,
It's a paint job.
Huh?
It's just painting the stripes over here.
Correct.
And-
And that we wouldn't bring back to the board. That's just a minor
And-
change
and
that Craig and I review.
I understand that.
But some of those questions regarding,
I believe what happens is during this whole public hearing, there's so many other issues that came up. And as you start to do a deeper dive into this, you start to pick out things like that.
well, and that's really a function of the building code.
Yeah.
How many of those units he has to build,
Okay.
elevators, those sorts of things. That's really a function of the building code.
Okay.
And,
Like I said, that's a
and it
side
wouldn't,
note.
and it wouldn't have, whether there's 2 units or 22 units, that doesn't affect.
Well, no,
It doesn't affect, you're looking at number of units, size, drainage, grading, traffic. You're looking at the outside, not the inside.
Okay.
I constantly tell developers when they submit packages, I don't need the door schedules and the windows, and, we'll get a 60-page sheet set, and I'm like, no, we only need these,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
like I
I'd
said,
like to make a comment.
Yes, please, go on.
I'd like to make another comment regarding the traffic report by the peer review. The peer review basically required or recommended that the applicant have a traffic person advising the tenants as to the best times to enter, exit, and where to go to mitigate some of the issues that I've already mentioned, traffic backed up to Pine Street. If that's a yes by the peer review, that's a weak yes. That doesn't say much. And an observable, what I've observed and many others in this room have observed, as well as many on this board, the traffic is a big deal. And this is going to cause it to be even worse. When I was asked by the chair to give my thoughts about it 2 weeks ago by email, I had actually just driven up 139 from North Stoughton, and I was parked at Pine Street at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday. That's pretty common. And for 47 other parking spaces or apartments plus the parking that entails is going to exacerbate that considerably. In addition, by the state requirements that we have to have bicycle spaces, which is going to make that even narrower, and the neighbors have a hard time getting in and out of their driveways with the current traffic as it is, I find this untenable. Thank you.
I did want to address one of the things that the traffic letter, because you mentioned that there were a lot of recommendations. If we were to do an approval, we would look at all of those recommendations as required conditions. I'm just letting you know that. So, but I'm just pointing out that there were a number of recommendations.
There were signalization, crosswalks. and
There were
other things.
crosswalks, there were some, a road safety audit at the intersection, a separate road safety audit at the intersection. There were a number
Restriping
of
of the
things
road.
that Craig and I would incorporate literally every recommendation they made into a condition. I'm just letting you know that that's, for your edification, that's what we would do.
Understood, but
Okay.
does that include putting a sidewalk on the northbound side of the highway?
No.
And another sidewalk from 1,000 feet from Pine Street south?
No, it did not.
Those are big concerns. People are telling me at the dog park, why didn't you put a sidewalk so we can get down there instead of having to drive there? That's happening right now, and this is only going to make it worse.
Okay.
So I guess at this point in time, what I'd like to do is ask for a continuance to our next meeting so we can take a vote, we can have a positive or a negative set of values that we would give out so everybody can see and know what they're voting on, one way or the other, before that next meeting.
Yeah, you have 90 days from the close of the hearing, which is the 23rd, so I don't know exactly what the 90 days is, but October, November, December, January 23rd, or depending on the number of days, it might be January 21st or something. January 8th is the next meeting. That would be, the only other items would be there's potentially the zoning articles that I'll be recommending.
Let's just do it January 8th if we can. do it January 8th.
And I will also enlist town council to, he can view the tape. I've got my notes. Craig is an engineer. He's very fastidious. He takes better notes than I do. And we will talk with him. We'll talk with the chairman, and maybe Brian will come to you if he feels he can write a decision. You clearly would like a decision of denial based on these findings that you've given us. I will then relay that to Brian's office, to Brian, and then, possibly he might come and, if he can, write a decision. If not, then he may have a discussion with the board on the
The
project.
criteria.
On the criteria.
Yeah, so he may have that discussion.
So it would be, just continue. I will just put it on the agenda for January 8th.
Did you get a copy of my comments by any chance, or did I send it to?
I sent him to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
He's got a copy of everybody's comments. and
Okay,
everything we
I
have.
just,
I mean, I'm very open. Everybody-
no, I just
okay.
wanted to make sure that, if not, I could send it to him, and
No, I've got everybody's comments have been sent in to him, so he has as a central person, and I had everybody's comments.
And I know
had.
that the chairman reached out individually
yes.
with you listing what the criteria was for you folks to look at. And then, so you sent individually. So you did no group deliberation, you did it individually to the chairman to relay it back to me.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to continue this meeting until January 8th?
January 8th.
So made.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4, and 1 opposed.
We'll go two opposed.
3, 4, and 2 opposed.
So Peter Murphy and Rich Terry were opposed. I'm just getting it, so
They're opposed
Karen,
to continuing.
Huh?
They're opposed to continuing the meeting.
opposed to
They
continuing.
would
So
like
it's
to take a
3 to
vote
2 passes.
I guess if you're opposed, just as a question, you're opposed to it, so you'd rather take a vote tonight and walk away?
Well, then we'd need a motion and a second, and I'm not ready to make a motion.
If you're wanting to deny it, I believe you should have a decision of denial with findings. If you don't, then you deny it. I only have these things.
We have to be able to get something together for us.
I-
I think the
I-
3 to
I
2
rec-
vote,
I-
the 3
it's
to 2
in your-
vote to continue, let's just continue. We've already taken a 3 to 2 vote to
You have a
continue.
3-2 vote to continue.
So we're
Yeah,
continuing,
you're
okay?
good.
Move on. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Item number 4, continued public hearing on site plan review case file number SP 25-013 will be held on the petition of applicant T.L. Edwards. The applicant requests a site plan review under section 10.6 to clear a portion of the site and construct a private road, private gravel storage and parking area included in the drainage controls. The proposed limit of work provides 50 feet of buffer to all wetlands. The property is located at Page Street, 100 block, on the south side of Page Street between routes 24 and the Avon Town Line. Assessors map 103, lots 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the industrial zone. This has been continued since November 13th, 25. Just as a matter of record, I did review the minutes from the last meeting, and I believe Richard Terry has reviewed those minutes. So we are up to speed on what you're looking for, so we're here. Yes, go ahead.
So if you could motion to open that, and then we noticed during the review that it needed a special permit for the clearing of more than 3,000 feet. So if you notice, there's a new hearing, it was scheduled, it's the special permit to catch up. It's a formality.
So can we have a motion to open up the original case file, SP 2513?
So made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then we have a new public hearing on special permit case file SPP 25-005 will be held on the petition of applicant TL Edwards, Inc. The applicant requests special permit under section 6.4 to clear a portion of the site greater than 3,000 square feet. The property is located at Page Street, 100 block on the south side of Page Street between routes 24 and the Avon Town Line. Floor is yours for right now.
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting
on.
Engineers.
Bring your mic on.
It is.
Bring it closer to you.
Oh, all right, sorry. Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers, for the record. We were here, I believe, at the last meeting and discussed the site plan. We have responded to any comments from the town. We've added the required plantings as asked for and have received a draft decision. We have no objections to the decision or conditions in that decision, and I'd be happy to address any questions that the board has.
Anybody else have any questions on what's going on with this?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I see that, this is probably a formality, Old Page Street cuts through that property.
Yes, sir.
Is that still Old Page Street?
It's been decommissioned.
What's that?
The roadway was decommissioned, so it's now actually owned by Mr. Edwards.
Okay, so the ownership got turned over.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that was done through the county. It was,
Was that when they put the highway through, probably?
no, actually, it was done recently, like six, it was, well, there are two discontinuances. One was this Old Page Street, which was in process about a year and a half ago, which got approved, what, 7 months ago? And then the second portion of Old Page Street that you're probably thinking of is the portion with Stoughton Logistics. There's a portion, that got done like about 2 or 3 months after this.
Okay, that was done at town meeting, I recall that one.
Yeah, and the previous one was done at a town meeting prior, but it took the county quite a while.
Okay,
So they have
Now
been
on
totally
Old Page Street.
discontinued, both of those projects.
all right, that's, and the other thing is this going to be used for Amazon trailers to park in that area? Or is
That is not the intention.
that's not the intent?
No, sir.
Okay,
What are they using it for?
It's going to be for Mr. Edwards' vehicles to be able to go on site, his trailers,
Gonna
et
leave it as
cetera.
a gravel site then?
That's the intention, yep.
is there,
Is it equipment or vehicles? It's his equipment.
It's equipment,
It's his equipment.
yes.
There's a difference between vehicles and equipment.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yes.
I mean, when you talk equipment, are you talking like front-end loaders, earth-moving equipment?
That is my understanding, yes.
So my concern would be, and I guess it has to go before COMCOM on this, correct?
It's been
Yeah,
through Concom.
Oh,
Yes.
It's been through them, okay.
yeah, so we've received a full order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. Well, they approved it at their meeting. We're waiting to receive the order of conditions.
Okay, no, that's fine.
With a motion on the site, we have to have two motions, two hearings on this, right? Because we get the site plan review and we have the special permit. So I think the first thing we need to vote on is the special permit, because without that, the project's no good. So could I have a motion to approve the special permit request on this particular property?
Could I ask a question, Mr.
Sure,
Chairman?
go ahead, anytime.
If this is machinery, right, I don't know what our laws are, but isn't it supposed to be an impervious material that, in case of like hydraulic leaks, oil leaks, et cetera?
Yeah, so there's no specific bylaw for that. That's usually our preference. They haven't specified exactly what machinery or what equipment will be stored here. We've had them lay out, pathways so that we're sure that people can, get through the site and so forth, so that we have a general layout for emergency vehicles and things like that. They've designed the site so that it all sheds towards a detention basin, which has a sediment forebay at the front end of it, so it'll hit that for treatment first and then spill over into the basin. So there's
there's mechanisms in place.
Okay, I was just under the
Safeguard that.
impression that maybe there was a, environmental law that required a impervious material, so that if a hydraulic line did break, it would run on the concrete and then be
Yeah,
captured.
there's no specific requirement for that in the stormwater management regs or in any regulation we have in town.
Go ahead.
To the engineer, would it be possible to have a condition that all hydraulic oil is a type that is not poisonous, or there is a hydraulic oil that is environmentally friendly, and I don't recall the term, but could that be a condition for equipment with hydraulics stored at that site?
I'm not familiar with different types of hydraulic oil, so I don't know if I'd have to check with the applicant on that.
We are familiar with the type of hydraulic oil that you're talking about. They use it when machinery's in the ocean for driving piles and working on waterfront properties. In this situation, what we have is we have a gravel base that's over what we would call D soils. They're very limited on their permeability. So we're not really concerned that anything that is going to actually go into the ground and really seep in. It's going to shed down with the slope that we have and go through the treatment train that we have set up for drainage, and think that that will take care of it. The different hydraulic oils they can have different impacts on the machinery, and not all of them, from my understanding, are suitable to take the environmentally friendly hydraulic oil.
Okay, thank you.
So is there a barrier that you're putting underneath the gravel so that it,
No, what our testing, when we dug test pits out on site, what we found was that the soils weren't really receptive to infiltration. So if we were going to put a septic system or an underground infiltration system, it would work very poorly.
So it's a semi-impervious.
Correct.
It's a natural barrier already in place.
It's a,
I mean, I know it's like, we've had environmental issues where something starts leaking in and it's getting into well water and, what have you, and I know you keep good care of your machines and everything, but there's always that, you see these abandoned heavy equipment parked around in different places, and you just know that all that stuff is just leaking right into the soil,
Okay, if I can make a recommendation, a normal condition that we've heard with situations like this might be on-site spill kits that are in a container on-site. So if something is discovered, that a spill kit can be utilized
So
to
you
take care
feel
of that.
quite comfortable with the setup?
Yes,
Okay.
very.
And our engineer feels comfortable with the setup?
Yes.
Well, if we can add the on-site spill kits to the order of conditions, and then one of the other special order conditions, we can do that.
What about, let's say they use one of these spill kits? Does it get reported to anybody? To anybody like in the town?
It
Board of Health?
depends on the volume. If it's over 5 gallons, it's a reportable spill.
Okay.
For the record, it's called biodegradable hydraulic oil.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was going to come to you sooner or later.
When you're driving down Page Street from Stoughton heading towards Avon, and you go under the 24, is this that has that yellow blockade going into the entrance into the site?
This is before you go under the overpass. This is actually connected to the D'Angelo's Dunkin' Donuts site.
Right, no, but I'm saying is as you go under 20, you're coming from this direction.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep,
Coming from Stoughton heading to Avon.
yes.
Instead of going into BJ's Wholesale, I continued to Avon, but right immediately on my right-hand side, I see a barrier, a swing gate.
I don't believe there's a swing gate on Page Street for our site.
There's a swing gate there. You
Is
may
there?
wanna look at it.
I'm unaware of it,
Yeah,
so.
okay. Because I see there's a chain link fence for 24.
Yeah, I am unaware of it.
They're off of 24, I guess, but.
So this project has a gate set back off the road, so that
Proposed. He's asking if there's one there now.
Yeah, there's one there now, I
There's-
believe.
But I don't think it's there. So there is another gate there. I know the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I think it's an easement, a utility easement gate.
Okay,
They've been working there. There's people been working there,
all right.
all right? All right, very good.
Make a motion that we approve the special permit.
Along with adding on the,
We vote separately on these, or?
we'll have to do the separate, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. So can we have a motion on the special permit?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, then we need a motion on the site plan review, and we're going to just add into the criteria that they have the dry packs on for cleaning up the site.
You wanted an additional condition?
Yes. The additional condition has,
The spill kit on
the
site.
spill kit's on site. Yes. Can I have a motion in regards to that?
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
So that would be special condition number 2, skill kit.
Yeah.
Can I have you guys individually sign that at a,
Yes.
you, over the next couple,
Yeah, we can swing in.
Before Christmas?
before Christmas?
Yes.
Okay.
Record this.
Item number 5, continue public hearing on site plan review, case file number SP 25-014, and special permit case file number SPP 25-004. Will be held at the petition of the applicant, Costco Wholesale Corporation, 43940 Horseshoe Drive, Sterling, Virginia, 20166, represented by Peter Tam Esquire, Goulston and Stores PC, 1 Post Office Square Road, Boston, Mass. 02109. The applicant requests site plan review under section 10.6.2 for parking lot expansion of 152 parking spaces, including the alteration of the site circulation and drainage improvements, lighting and landscaping. The special permit request is per 6.4.7.2 to reduce the required interior parking lot landscaping requirement. Excuse me, the project is located at 120 Stockwell Drive, assesses map 92, lots 22 and 24, in the industrial zoning district, continued from November 13, 25. I also want to state that I have read the meeting minutes from the previous meeting, and Richard Terry has also done the same, so we are up to speed.
And Mr. Chairman, I know that you signed your Mullins certificate. Those have both been recorded with the town clerks prior to this meeting, because I know that the attorney asked me several times.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My name is Kevin Goggin from Goulston and Stores, attorney for Costco. With me this evening are John Alvarado, Director of Real Estate Development for Costco, the project's traffic consultant, John Harder from TPD, and the project's civil engineer, Mike Appicetti from RJ O'Connell. We're here this evening to provide a brief update on the status of permitting, minor plan revisions, and recent coordination with town staff. We're also here to answer any questions the board may have remaining about the project. With respect to updates, since we last appeared before the board on November 13th, the Conservation Commission voted to issue an order of conditions for the project. We also received approvals from the town of Avon, because as you all know, this lot is split by the boundary. Specifically, we received from the Avon Planning Board, or rather they voted to approve a Water Supply Protection District special permit, and the Avon Conservation Commission voted to issue an order of conditions. With respect to plan revisions, there were just some minor revisions that were made at the request of the conservation agent here in Stoughton. Most of those related to snow storage and where snow could be placed in and around the wetlands, or basically to say they cannot be placed in the wetlands. And then lastly, with respect to coordination with staff, we've had an opportunity to see the recommended decision that's going to be presented with you tonight. We reviewed all the conditions, and Costco's agreed to all of those conditions. And with that, we're here to answer any questions, open up the plans, or anything else we can do for you this evening.
Richard, do you have any questions on the project? Anybody else as far as where we're going? I know you guys have all heard this testimony.
Yeah, no, I'm good with our little piece of the triangle.
The one change you'll see is Kevin sent me an email is it this morning? Yes, I think it was this morning.
It was yesterday morning with the plan
Yeah,
revision.
yesterday morning. The decision that you have is slightly revised. The Concom, the plan revision date on the thing that I emailed, the decision I emailed you was November or something, and November 25th or whatever. The plan revision date is now December 2nd. That's the final, it included the Concom requirements. So just to make sure. And the decision's been updated to just, and that's the one change. It was the plan revision date.
Do we have the same issue here that we just had with the last applicant as far as how many square yards or square feet they're clearing to be able to do this site with a special permit situation?
I could not hear you.
Do we have the same situation with this applicant that we had with the previous one about a special permit for the 3,000 square feet of clearing?
No, the site's basically cleared. It's
Because we have
somewhat
because
pad
there's no
ready.
trees on it, it's nothing. There's nothing
No
there.
trees. It's somewhat pad ready. It's a lot of scrub.
Been pad ready for, it's been pad ready for,
It's been pad ready for a while. Actually, it was pad ready, and it's probably now, any trees are considered, first generation growth.
Yeah.
From,
I've reviewed all of your notes and your meetings. I don't have any other questions. Unless somebody else does, I'm looking for a motion to approve this for the order of conditions that's been presented to us.
so made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
So you just need us, Bill? Bill, you need us to come in and sign that? Oh, okay.
we'll sign it tonight afterwards.
Item number 6, a new public hearing will
Mr.
be
Chair,
held for
before you,
sign.
Mr. Chair, one question. Just as a formality, and apologies for this, but does it have to be open to the public just for public comment first? I know there may be one or two folks out there want to make sure we get comments in just before the vote's taken on this.
Is that the public comment? Oh, we're still open for public
Oh,
comment?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
My apologies.
Was there anybody in here that wanted to comment on this project? No?
Anybody on the
None
screen?
taken, so then, yes?
On the screen.
Somebody on the screen who wants to comment?
Is there anyone online? Is there anyone online that wishes to comment on Costco?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. This is Carla Moynihan from Sharon and Lodgen, representing IKEA. I just wanted to make certain for the record, I didn't hear the clerk or the chairman. Thank you very much for giving me time. We submitted a letter of support with some suggested conditions, which may be in this draft decision, but I just don't know.
We did receive your letter at the last hearing, and it was distributed to the board.
Okay, so one of the conditions was with respect to having the parties meet with, in connection with the easements and refining those.
I couldn't hear it, I'm sorry.
Could you speak up? I couldn't hear what you said.
Sorry, I believe that one of the conditions that we were suggesting in the letter was in connection with the various cross easements amongst the butters and this parcel. And we already have a gentleman's agreement to do so with Costco's team. I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention for inclusion in the decision if possible.
So you have a gentleman's agreement to do what, Kyle? I'm very sorry, we're struggling to hear you.
I'm sorry, Kevin, can you speak up on this?
Sure,
point?
I'm
I
happy to do
apologize.
so.
Very sorry, Kyle, thank you.
I'm happy to do so, but I would say that I think that a condition in a site plan approval or a special permit for third parties to enter into agreements wouldn't be appropriate. We of course need to satisfy any requirements in a encumbrance on the property, with whether it be easement or otherwise. In this instance, I believe, well, I know Carla's talking about there's a drainage easement that burdens the property here. We believe we've actually got the right to modify this easement, and basically what we're actually doing is we are relocating the stormwater treatment facility, so it will be underneath the improved surface that we're going to be putting on there. It's actually going to be almost in the same place, slightly modified. We believe we're allowed to do that under the existing easement, but we have agreed that because this is going to be a change to the project itself, that we're willing to work with IKEA on a number of issues. We want to be good neighbors. We want to help them out as much as we can. But to have a condition in a site plan approval or a special permit decision that requires us to enter into a new agreement with a third party, I don't think that's appropriate for a decision at this point.
No,
sorry, I
understood, Kevin. All that I was asking for was that there be commercially reasonable efforts expressed, which you've already confirmed on the record. So,
And happy to do so, but like I would say, we would not want that included. We would not want that included in any decision.
The board, I recommend they don't get into any third-party agreements.
Exactly, and this is part of the record just by discussing it.
And if something breaks down regarding the drainage easement and they have to modify the plan because they
Yep.
can't come to agreement, then they have to come back. So, and if they agree and build the plan, they're good. So that's how we would cover it is if something changes dramatically, it would require a revision, a modification.
That's correct.
thank you for your time. I just wanted it on the record. Thank you.
Okay.
So will that be a condition, or?
No. No.
The motion to close the public hearing.
Well, no, we already voted on it, so we're just moving, we went backwards, I'm sorry. But the vote was taken, but we decided to go backwards because I didn't open it back up to the public hearing. That was my
Okay.
mistake, because I thought the comment period had already ended.
All right.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you.
Just trying to cover us on public hearing.
Yep, no, I hear you. Okay. A new public hearing for signed special permit case file number SPP 25-006 will be held to petition of applicant Sign Design on behalf of owner Maltby and Company. The applicant requests a special permit under section 6.2.7. The applicant is seeking to allow a freestanding sign to be 3.2 feet from the property line. The zoning bylaw requires a 15-foot setback per section 6.2.4.2. The project is located at 614 Park Street, assessors map 77, lot 106 in the industrial I zone. You're up.
You need to turn the button on and bring it close to you. Bring it
There we go.
very close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and the board. My name is Marie Mercier. I'm with Sign Design in Brockton, Mass., here representing my client Maltby and Company. We're looking to seek relief for a special permit for,
Excuse me. Can they close that door back there?
Oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
as I was saying, we're looking to seek relief for a special permit for the setback on a new pylon sign that they're looking to put in. There was a pylon existing at one point, like 2 years ago, before Malty moved into this address. They had demoed it, knowing that they were gonna put up a new pylon sign. There is no, like the 15-foot setback, their sign would be in the middle of their parking lot. There's the sidewalk, there's a small piece of property that I think we have about maybe 10 feet total in that little strip. So they're looking to put the sign back up relatively in the same location that the existing pylon was there a couple years ago. So they're looking to put the sign cabinet that has the top part of the sign is illuminated and there with an EMC on the bottom. But as you can see in the photo, if we did the 15-foot, it's in the middle of their parking lot, so we don't have much room to work with.
Never demolish anything before you have a chance to rebuild it.
I think it was done before they bought the,
Never take anything down before you get a permit to rebuild.
Well, they
Is
didn't
that-
know.
Rule, number one rule. That starts.
We didn't do it.
when I was actually by the site, I'm sorry, are you done with your presentation?
For now, yes.
I was by the site, and what I noticed is you can almost catch it in the picture about, 18 inches off the sidewalk. There seemed to be something sticking up with a rock on top of it. Was that the previous sign?
in that pit photo right there, I
Right.
think right where that was the big cement base that held the previous sign, correct?
Right, so it was actually real close to the sidewalk.
Yes. I think if you look into Google Maps,
If you go
it
back.
was closer to the end as you come in. We're looking to,
If that goes.
bring it in this-
You see where it says 3 point? No, actually, you see where the little white spot is? Right there. There was a rock and it looked like it was on top of a previous post.
Bring it, the old sign used to be somewhere in here,
exactly.
I think right in here, where some of this is. They're proposing to just put it within this little planter island, but pull it back, and it's good. I'm sorry, they're proposing to pull it back, and from our standpoint, getting it away from the entrance, pulling it back from the entrance and putting it in there. There's still, there's the sidewalk, curb, the area, and then you have the start of the road.
Right.
But yes, I believe that's where the old sign, as you were saying,
The old
was.
sign used to be right on the,
Right on-
That's what
right
I'm
next to
saying.
right where the driveway, you could hit it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
That might be why it's not there.
What I'm looking at is the sign being 100 inches wide. So let's call it 96 for easy math. You see that the drawing has the
Yep.
dimensions on it? So it's basically 4 feet, but you want it 3 feet, 2 inches away from the side, the property line?
That's what the point I was going to bring up. It should be at least the distance of the
I think
sign
we brought it 3 feet,
from the property.
2 inches to the edge of the cabinet.
Right, but right now it should be,
It should be,
oh, to the edge of the cabinet. Okay, not to the edge of the, not to the pole.
not the pole. We usually take it from the edge of the cabinet, because that will be the,
And I'm looking at the wrong drawing then.
I think you can barely see, there's a little dotted line from the
Okay.
edge of the cabinet that we're
My
looking to go in.
mistake.
Not a problem.
The other thing is, this is 17 feet high. And what I noticed is your neighbor, the property before that, their sign is just about 15 feet high. And you're going 2 feet higher. If yours was 15 feet, because I measured other signs throughout the town.
Yep.
And they're all approximately 15 feet high. As opposed to IKEA, which is 100 feet up in the air, and I don't expect that. But, that,
It's within code.
and I saw the code, and the code does allow that. But if this is going to be one of those signs that have a message on it or something like that.
Yeah, so that's what a message, where they show the flag now, that is a message board where the company will put, I
Happy
guess,
holidays.
specials, happy holidays,
that-
exactly.
We've actually put something into the bylaw, we attempted to maybe years ago, maybe didn't get fully in there, but we had issues with these types of signs before. Harbor One Bank was one of the issues where the sign, the lighting of the sign and the flickering of the sign was actually deterrent to cars and to vehicles and to people because of the illumination of the sign. And I don't recall the specifics of how we were limiting that, and I don't know whether, Craig, whether you remember it or not.
They were able to adjust the brightness.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I thought we had a way of dealing with it now with, to be prevented that they can't have it at a certain
We added
brightness.
a lot of that in the SCD, but not the regular sign code.
Okay, so then we need to maybe bring in, as a condition for this, because it's a special permit, to bring in that condition in here so that we don't have that bright sign, because that's, it's somewhat lighted area, but it's not completely lighted, and I think if you're coming down that road with old types of street lights, all of a sudden you get these bright, LED lights, it's gonna be a shock to people, and
Oh,
especially if it's gonna be like a
exactly.
flashing on and on thing.
We try as, sign design company to keep to the town's, timelines that they need to be on, the flickering of like how many seconds before your next message.
Right,
and all
that's the
that.
type of thing,
So-
I want to make sure that we follow, however we brought that up in the SCD, to get that same type of setup, I want to make sure that lighting is brought into this permit as a special permit. Because that was a real issue when Harbor One came in and did
really
they did.
was.
Sonic was the same thing.
Sonic wasn't as bad as Harbor One. Harbor One did this thing with bright light LEDs. It was just, it was.
Particularly when the road was wet,
Yeah.
the headlights and then the sign, and it was flashing, you know, different, it would go dark, and then a big bright section would come on, and it was blinding.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're gonna go with that type of sign, which, you know, obviously is legal, but I wanna make sure we're limiting to what can get done on it.
So do you have
I don't
recommended
have,
conditions?
I'm gonna have to look at that and get back to you on the recommended.
So is that a standard adjustability you have in the feature of this light?
Yeah, I believe with the EMC, the programming of it, I think you do have a dimmer that you can adjust the lighting, the colors, and stuff on the actual EMC board itself.
Like a computer screen.
Correct.
Okay.
I just don't know how to get that set up. I mean, I know, like I said, we had something in the SPD code. I have to go look at it. I didn't realize that was what they were doing here, so,
Could I make a comment?
go ahead.
I'm opposed to like lit signs. I love what Malpe did to that building, really dressed it up very nicely, beautifully landscaped. I'm more of the guy that likes the soft signs, you know, wooden signs, something low profile. There's no reason that somebody has to see a brightly lit up sign saying this is Malpe, because Malpe, I mean, if you're in this town, you know that's Malpe. It was quite evident with the sign that they have on the building. And they're a very attractive setting there. So I would be opposed to the special permit for that reason. Perhaps if you came back with a nice, more coherent, quiet sign, I
Yeah,
might.
I think they're the ones that are requesting to get an EMC put up and be
Okay.
able to advertise a bit of their services or,
Yeah, I'm not into
specials
like
or-
having
and I know they've been in
lit
Stoughton.
signs, you know, 100 years from now, when I'm not even around, there'll be lit signs all the way down Route 24, you know, all the way down Park Street.
Las Vegas.
The other question I have is, with the sign going in, the landscaping there is pretty shabby. Do they have any plans?
Oh, I'm sure they'll dress it up. I mean, if it's something that you're requesting, that's not a problem. I can let them know, putting shrubberies or
Right, I mean.
new
it's-
grass.
Now that we have you on the hook, so to speak,
Yeah.
you know, and for them to throw some type of shrubs there, something, you know, just to kind of dress up the signage area. So,
That's not a problem.
I don't know if it's a condition.
I think we're at a point, can we take a motion to continue this meeting to the next meeting, and just, we'll look into the, oh, I'm sorry, is there anybody in the audience that wants to be heard? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Lester Davis. I live at 557 Park Street, so it's diagonally across from Malte's property. I was wondering what the sign size is that was in the ordinance originally. I thought it was 50 or something, or 55 square inches,
50 square feet, no.
50 square feet, I think.
This is
Isn't this
51.7
sign bigger
overall
than that?
square feet. This sign is 51.7 square
And the
feet
code in the industrial area can be 100 square feet.
on a pylon sign.
Okay.
This is half the size of what, this property is zoned industrial.
I realize that.
If it was zoned general business, it would be a smaller sign.
Okay, but from the previous owner and the sign that used to be there that I remember as well. But, and I like what you're suggesting in reference to the lighted sign, maybe the lumens or the brightness of the sign. That's a dark area. They've done a very nice job fixing the building and improving the area. I'm just trying, and I like the idea of a non-lighted sign, but whatever this committee does, and the height of the sign to about 15 feet.
Okay? Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment? Yes, come on up.
Good evening to the board. Bob Mullen, 19 Clover Lane. As a resident of the town, I'm concerned about a lot of these electronic signs. I think you mentioned like Harbor
One.
Bank. You drive down 138, and sometimes there's a movie being shown, a couple of scenes. It's bright. Sometimes, maybe not Harbor One, but I hate to see these, like some of the, you go to different towns, they have flashing signs and you're driving around. It distorts you as you're driving. And also, I heard that the town planner said industrial zone, but it's in a sea of a neighborhood. All around these properties, they're homes, residents. Residents should come first in this town. That's what the requirements of special permits are, too. You have to be the character of the neighborhood. So, I mean, I love Maltby, great company. They're out there doing a lot of good service for everybody. We appreciate that, but I think you have to, I would ask that the board here consider these electronic signs. Once you let one sign in that pulsates or flashes or distorts as the drivers, and then everybody else who has signs will want these types of signs. And it's just, I live in Stoughton for a lot of years here. I just don't want to have all the signs become electronic signs. I think it just distorts the character of the town. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else want to be heard on this particular item? Thank you. At this time, I think we'd like to continue it to the next meeting we have, which will be January 8th, if we get room there, if not, the following meeting.
We really don't have room on the 8th,
then go to the next meeting.
unfortunately.
Go to the next meeting.
We have the
576.
Pleasant Street, and then we really reserved it all for the
For the
zoning articles.
Yeah, so just go to the next meeting then.
So it would be the... Yeah, January 22nd. And I can work, Craig and I can work on, I think we've got a direction.
Yeah.
We can work with them on I know that we'll talk about them drafting up some sort of a little bit of a landscape plan to make it nice so you see it. I don't want to just condition putting shrubs in. Well, I'd rather have them, do a small little plan on what they're proposing.
Okay.
And then we can talk to them on, I know that our code doesn't have it, but I know other sign codes have certain, we can look at
It's the LED brightness, it's the frequency.
brightness, and we can talk
frequency.
about the changing. It can not change
Right.
more than, no more than, every 5 minutes or something like
It's got a
that.
frequency thing,
The
it's got other
frequency,
things
we
too.
could look at that as a condition. We can't deny, because our code does not prohibit the message signs. Some codes do, but ours does not. So, but we could, the special permit authority, you can put a limit on, so that thing doesn't flash all the time. It's not like flashing a movie.
The Harbor One issues came up obviously after it was installed and
Right.
everything. And Harbor One was, very cooperative.
Oh, they were, but it took a little bit of time to get it to that
I don't
point.
recall pulling out a specific regulation saying you must adhere to that.
No, there
It was more
we
a
didn't with them, but it was
safety-related
something that we
issue.
were coming up with in the future, and we did try to put into some additional permits.
Okay.
I got to go back and look, but
And we
I'll
can,
revisit it too and
and
just
we
see
can,
what.
and we can look at a condition on brightness, safety, determination of the, Public Works and engineer, and we can figure out something regarding brightness.
What's interesting about this particular sign and the location is this is going to be directly across from the new South School entrance. So, I mean, it's going to somewhat turn into a landmark, so to speak. So, I noticed there was no signs on the building itself. Is there any of that in the works?
They haven't approached us with that yet. I'm not too sure, I'm the project manager in the team, not the salesperson, so I don't know if that's in the works, but they're just looking to get the pylon up for the,
They may want to contact engineering.
Well, that's the signs on the building, it's just strictly a building permit. a sign permit through the building department.
Okay, but it's size-wise and everything else.
It just has to comply.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
it's
and
a
typic-
ministerial action through the building commissioner does it through a sign permit.
Okay.
So what's the date?
Continue to January 22nd.
Let me,
Have a motion to that effect,
2026.
please?
January 22nd, got that.
Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, have a nice evening.
Item number 7, new public hearing for site plan review, case file SP 25-016 will be on the petition of the applicant, Town of Stoughton, represented by Semantes Consultants, Inc., for site plan review under section 10.7. The applicant proposes to construct a new elementary school approximately 101,590 plus or minus square feet on 27 acres. The site improvements include playgrounds, athletic fields, parking, storm drainage, landscaping, and site lighting. In addition to the new access drive within the right-of-way of DeStefano Way, formerly Faino Drive, will be constructed. The project is located on DeStefano Way, Assessors Map 65, Lot 133, Map 76, Lot 6, 7, 8, and 9, Map 77, Lot 2, and in an RB residential and an I industrial zoning district. Okay. You're up.
Good evening. I'm Carl Franceschi, principal with DRA Architects. Is that better? We also have some folks online, too, who are part of the project team, in addition to Michelle.
Michelle Kaiserman from Samiotis Consultants, the civil engineers on the project.
And we had a few slides to introduce the project to you. I know you've got a set of drawings as well you can refer to. I think many of you are probably familiar with the project. Obviously, it went to town vote twice and was successful this past April, and we've been working on developing the plans since then. As described, it is not just a replacement for the South Elementary School, but it does involve redistricting in the town, and it will be a larger building than the current South and combine a greater population up to potentially 600 students. It's a 3-story building planned on a parcel of land that the town has owned for quite a number of years. They bought it, as we understand it, back in the 60s for school purposes, but it essentially has been vacant wooded land off of Park Street. If we can have the next slide.
Just tell me next slide.
Next slide, thanks, Bill. So there's the limits of the site with that little neck of land that connects to Park Street to provide frontage. But as many of you probably know, again, if you followed the project, the town did recently acquire what's now called DeStefano Drive and a few adjacent parcels of land as well, which improves the access to the property, a much better, safer intersection to Park Street, and also because DeStefano Drive connects to Sumner in its existing condition, it provides a secondary emergency access from the site, should that ever be needed in sort of a drastic emergency, not on any kind of day-to-day usage. And it allowed us to revise the project from needing to connect to Haynes Road to the northwest there, again, a quiet residential road with a secondary access point. And it also allowed us to reduce the impact on wetlands and the cost of building 2 bridges to cross those wetlands to access the land. So it makes a lot of sense to utilize that old railroad right-of-way as the driveway to the site. The other thing to notice on the slide, the orange line is the limit of our work on this project to create that driveway from Park Street to access the school. And essentially, it goes to where there's a a cut through the woods there that you can see in the aerial photograph that's an electrical right-of-way, an electrical easement that crosses the property there. That's sort of the limit of our work, and we intend to, as we'll show in details, but construct a driveway, access the school, and put a gate there that fire and police would have access and control of if, as we say, it were ever needed for emergency access. We've had a few discussions with the police and fire specifically about that, and they're both in agreement that this plan makes a great deal of sense to them. They both agree that they can utilize the Stefano Way as an emergency access. So we just want to mention that. The other part of what you might say off-site work is at the intersection at Park Street. We obviously would like to improve that intersection. The Stefano Way needs to be widened for one thing, but we'd also like to install a traffic signal there, and we're in discussions with Mass Department of Transportation about that. We do have a traffic consultant on the project. They've done some traffic counts and some traffic projections for the amount of traffic. Right now, it's not a foregone conclusion that we can justify having a traffic light there, the red, yellow, green, traditional traffic light, because the traffic for the school is somewhat limited to the hours of arrival and dismissal. And for a state highway that Park Street is, it doesn't rise to the warrant, as they call it, to justify. But as we say, it's an ongoing discussion. They haven't turned down the possibility entirely at this point, and the fact that the Stefano Way may sometime in the future become a public street that does go all the way through to Sumner would change the amount of traffic, perhaps, and change the Department of Transportation's opinion as to whether a signal makes sense there. So that's an ongoing process right now, but we are planning for it in the budget. And certainly, as a minimum, there would be a crossing light so that pedestrians could stop traffic and get across the street there safely to the school.
In your approach to the state, are you looking to have that just during school hours? That like on Saturdays, Sundays, it would just be a green light or shut off completely?
That is certainly the one of the options that we want to discuss with them is even during normal weekdays that at off hours, the light may be green all the time for Park Street and only change into a cycle red, yellow when a sensor, either a wire or a sensor is tripped to, allow left turns in and left turns out. That's particularly the issue there. So,
Is that the case of where if you had a crossing guard there, they could remotely signal that to like pushing a button so they could control like all the buses coming out or going in, that type of thing?
I don't know about that, about what alternatives there are to how to control this signal, but we'd like to start with the best option first in our discussions with the state, and then see if there are some other safer alternatives if that fails.
Okay.
But that's certainly something to keep in mind. Yes.
You could go there and push the button. You're gonna know.
We can go to the next slide, Bill. Thanks.
So
I'll let Michelle take the technical details as the
Thank
civil
you.
engineer on the project.
Yep. So the orange line just denotes where that easement is. So really our work is coming from the right-hand side on Park Street, and so we are paving and it stops right at that orange line of the easement. And that's pretty much the school side of the property line. So next slide. So this is the general site layout. As you can see, the Stefano Way is at the bottom of the page. So cars would come in on that right-hand side and exit on that side. And then you can circulate around the site, and we have the parking lot in the front. There is a smaller bus loop in the middle. The main entrance is right there on the right-hand side of the building. The dark blue areas, purplish, are playgrounds. There's an athletic field located at the top of the page. There's a basketball court there as well. And then at the bottom of the page, you have outdoor seating area, and then in the very, very back is the loading dock and where the trash would be located. And then on DeStefano Way, all the way to the left-hand side, there would be that gate. So cars cannot drive just straight through and use it as a cut-through street. The pavement would stop at that gate, and the rest of the road would stay in its existing conditions. And then what's not shown on this site is at the bottom of the page are the 3 lots that are going to be used for stormwater management that we'll show in a little bit. So next slide, please. So on this site, there are jurisdictional areas for conservation. We are in front of conservation. We had a hearing with them last week. So this is just highlighting and showing those jurisdictional areas that did play a role in how the building and everything was sited, because we want to stay out of those areas as much as possible. And so the site is condensed in the outside of the uplands and outside of the jurisdictional areas. We do have floodplain on the site. We have riverfront, wetlands. So we are trying to be as conscious as possible as we are working through the process. So next slide, please. So this is the erosion control plan for both sides of the street, and this is showing the total, where red is the outline of the building, and we are installing erosion controls around the entire outside edge of the site. Everything kind of hatched is going to be clear cut. And then the green areas are swaths of trees that are going to be saved. So that's woods that's going to remain, and so those are being protected. We're proposing temporary stormwater basins to make sure that we're taking care of that siltation would not be leaving the site. So next slide, please. This is the utilities for the entire site for both sides of the road. So on the school site, there are various, so first I guess there is an existing water line that's shown in a light blue that cuts right through the center of the site. So we will not be putting the building on top of that water line, and so we are proposing to reroute that water line around the back of the building, around the left-hand side of it, and it would connect to the existing water line that is within DeStefano. So the water line does loop around the site, and that is providing the feed, both fire protection and domestic for the building. And then it's also feeding the hydrants that are located throughout the site.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
I don't see any natural gas. I'm anticipating this is all electric.
That's correct. It is an
correct.
all-electric building, yes.
You guys are all sold on that.
Well,
I'll tell you, my neighbor did it, the tax credits, everything, the whole 9 yards. His first month's electric bill was $800 in the winter. He had to shut it down and turn his oil burner back on to heat his house.
well, fortunately,
I just hope that, the costs are figured into all this, the long term,
yeah, we do have a portion of the building, about roughly a third of it, that's going to be heated and cooled by geothermal energy.
Oh, that's a plus.
Under the athletic fields, there'll be wells drilled, and using the, groundwater differential temperatures, we can avoid, using any, fuel at all. So from that point of view, that's one energy savings. The other is, fortunately, mechanical heating and ventilating equipment is getting more and more energy efficient. And so there are incentives, actually, not just the stricter building code and energy code, but the utility companies are offering incentives, pretty significant dollars that would come back to Stoughton for being all electric.
That's a big plus.
Yes, it is, yes.
Why isn't it you don't have enough to be able to do the whole building? You said you're doing about a third of the building with the geothermal?
What is that?
I'm sorry, you said you're doing about a third of the building with geothermal. Why wouldn't you be doing the whole building with it?
The cost, life cycle cost analysis still doesn't quite break even with the rebates there. A couple of years ago, there was even more federal money involved in that sort of helped that equation. So we did study looking at that option, ultimately with the building committee and all, we decided, we do what we could. And part of it has to do with, to make that kind of system work, it really depends on the annual energy use of the whole building, how much heating you do and how much cooling you do. And for an elementary school where they close in the summer and they have more limited hours, they actually don't do as much air conditioning and cooling, and it doesn't balance out as well as some buildings do, larger buildings or year-round occupancy kind of. So when we looked at those numbers, like we said, we tried to do the thing that made the most economic sense and environmental sense, as well as long-term operating cost.
And it is incentivized by LEED as well.
Yes, yes. The building will be at least LEED silver, potentially LEED gold, like the high school is as well. So it is going to be a very energy efficient building.
You running any solar on the roofs or not?
What's that?
You putting any solar on the roof?
Not technically as part of the project where the town would own the panels, but we're making the roof available, and we're beginning discussions with third-party providers to put solar panels on the roof. So one way or another, the town will benefit by having that roof available for solar. Yes. It's designed. Yes, it's designed. The electrical system, has the connections built into it, and the roof we're being kept clear of rooftop equipment and so forth for a good amount of the roof area.
So it'll be structurally sound to accept that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the MSBA incentivizes hitting the LEED points as well to
Right,
offset.
by being LEED silver, the town actually gets 2 additional reimbursement points, percentage points. So I forget what the exact reimbursement rate, but say it was 50%, you're getting 52% by being more environmentally. So on a project of this scale, the 2% is in the millions of dollars. It's actually a much better deal than the cost to get those 2 additional points through environmental and energy efficiencies.
No, wait, go back,
Sorry.
please. So for so red is the electrical coming onto the site, water and geothermal is the dark blue. Green is the stormwater, and so on the main school site, we have catch basins throughout the site that are routed into water quality units, and then various infiltration systems underground located within the parking lots. And the one in the rear of the building is actually underneath the playground, and so that's why it has that funny shape, is to avoid any footing
Foundations.
yes, of the play structures. And then, so the water will infiltrate into the infiltration systems, and anything that doesn't infiltrate outlets towards the wetlands. And we are providing that 90% TSS removal rate and the phosphorus and nitrogen removal through this system. And then in the front of the building, at the entrance, there are 3 smaller rain gardens that takes part of the walkway runoff and then the canopy runoff as well. So those would be utilized as outdoor classrooms. They're very accessible, and they're right in the front of the building. And then for DeStefano Way, the large green basin at the bottom is a proposed sand filter. So works similar to a rain garden where the water goes in there and the water infiltrates, and for treatment, instead of a bioretention kind of soil, it is sand. So it provides a higher infiltration rate, and then it's also treats for nitrogen, phosphorus, and TSS. So there would be catch basins located within the road, goes to a water quality unit, and then daylights into that basin. And anything that doesn't infiltrate would overflow again towards the wetlands and Dorchester Brook at the rear of the site there. For sewer, we're showing 2 sewer lines. One is for a grease trap at the rear of the building, and then in the front is the main sewer line, and we're proposing to route it to the right of the site, and there's an existing sewer line that pretty much all of Park Street cuts through this way and kind of goes, you can see it at the bottom of the page going diagonal, so we're proposing to tie into that sewer line. So we're not, so that is for the main utilities of the site. Next slide, please. And then, so this is the general site circulation. So everyone is coming in from Park Street on the right-hand side. And so yellow is the school buses, so the second entrance. And so they have a dedicated bus loop, so they can go into the loop, queue, drop the students off at that main entrance, and then they can come out of the site. And then blue is for parents. And so they have a larger loop, so there's a larger queuing line available for the parents, and they can also drop off at the front of the school. And then red, or they have the option for kindergarten, is the drop off is in the rear of the building in that red line over where the, right there where the playground is. And then they can continue on and exit the site. And then we're showing that emergency access and deliveries would come in through that, that fourth kind of last drive. So that's where deliveries would go. They're not, and there is a gate in the back of the site. So during the day, that can be shut down. It's right after the where the service area is. So trucks can't be looping around where the children are. So that back driveway is then shut down during the day. Yep. So delivery trucks can only come to that back service area and then exit the site. Next slide.
So, and just a quick question. At the emergency access, is the Stoughton Road just going to end there? You're just going to end the pavement and it's just going to end?
So there will be a gate as well.
Gate, but it's just going to end?
It is paved now. It's somewhere around 12 feet wide, I believe, now.
Something like that, yeah.
And both police and fire, as we said, have looked at the existing condition and find it acceptable for emergency access. They say there are similar kinds of emergency access routes elsewhere in town that they're used to, but there will be a gate.
But you're going to be repaving all of this stuff in a way?
Up to that gate,
Up
from
to that
Park
gate.
Street
That's what I'm saying,
there.
from that
It will be
gate.
widening it and repaving it, yes. We're actually raising the grade too, somewhat.
Now, the area that you're not paving, or not continuing, you say emergency exit, will that be also plowed during the winter?
We haven't.
Needs to be as.
That would be a town function anyway.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying if there's a gate there, some consideration would have to be done during a snowstorm or whatever.
And there is a business on the other side, so they do have access to that area. So I believe it's already being maintained in some capacity as it is.
Okay. How many school buses typically in the morning do you get there?
It's a little bit of a projection because, as we said, this school isn't literally replacing the existing South School. It's actually going to take on more children.
Right.
And we don't exactly know where those children are coming from yet because the school district hasn't, the school committee hasn't redistricted the town to go from 5 elementary schools to 4. So we don't know exactly, but we're making provision. I believe it's for 8 buses in that loop could fit there.
Well, again, my concern would be if there's, say, 12 buses, now they have buses hanging out in that road that could impede traffic.
Yeah, that would certainly be highly improbable with the capacity of the school to have up to 12 buses. But we were more concerned with the cars. We wanted to make sure the cars didn't back up when parents arrived to queue up in the afternoons. That's one reason for the configuration of that long light blue line for the parents, to make sure there's adequate queuing area for them and to separate the bus traffic from the car traffic.
How do you calculate the number of parking spaces you have there, and how would you accommodate situations where they have parent-teacher conferences and et cetera? Where would that additional parking?
Yeah, that's always a challenge for us designing schools, is that, day to day, we know how many teachers there are going to be and how many visitors, parking spaces are generally needed. We can get those numbers from the number of classrooms, the number of staff, and so forth. But then to accommodate for the once or twice or 3 times a year event, would be a lot of excess parking if we tried to get them all in designated stalls. So the one way to do it is by allowing parallel parking along the drop-off areas, making those roads wide enough.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are they
Exactly.
wide enough to
They are.
to
They're
accommodate
24 feet wide, so you can have a parked car, and if it's one-way traffic, other cars can pass.
So in
we
this
can-
design here, do you have an estimate of how many, if all the teachers were in, and, you had the occasional visitors coming in and out, is there a calculation of how many spaces would be normally open on any given day under normal circumstances?
We have a total of, I think it's in the vicinity of 150 parking spaces in painted slots, not counting those parallel potential spots for events. And of those 150, I think the staff is somewhere like less than around 100 or so.
Okay.
So there's certainly enough day-to-day spaces for visitors and parents who might park to drop off their child or park to pick them up when they're not in the queue there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. That's a future storage building. Right now, we're considering having, I don't know if you're familiar with the high school, the new high school has a few of these storage buildings. They look like the trailers of a trailer truck that are on the ground that have a roll-up door. You can store, equipment and so forth there. So there's a little bit of parking area or driveway access to that because they'd want to be able to, get materials in and out of those storage buildings. Mm-hmm.
Next slide, please. And so I'll defer to, we should have our traffic engineer on the call as well, but this is the plan showing for the signalized traffic intersection for the school driveway and Park Street.
Bill, do you know if Todd Brayton is on? Can you tell?
Is Todd on?
I am on, yes.
Yes. Todd, if you just want to briefly go through the, the design with the upgrade, the left turn lanes and all that?
Yeah, I can briefly discuss that. So basically, we're looking at, as it was mentioned, trying to get a traffic signal at the intersection. So one of the things that we would need, or we recommend, at least based on our analysis, is to have a left turn lane for the northbound traffic. So that would allow the traffic to flow better on Park Street. There'd also be 2 lanes exiting the site to just maximize how much traffic can get out of there at once.
Is Park Street wide enough to do that, or does it need to be widened?
It's wide enough to accommodate 3 lanes currently.
Mm-hmm. And there would be a sidewalk along the new Stoughton Drive 2 on the north side there for any pedestrians that might be walking in a crosswalk. There's not a sidewalk on the, let's call it the west side of Park Street right now, but there is on the east side. So that's why we would certainly want to add a crosswalk, and as we said, at a minimum, we'd want a crossing light there if we can't get the full traffic signal through Mass Department of Transportation.
Are we repaving any of Park Street?
We'd be restriping it, not necessarily repaving it. We'd have to repave, if they had to bury some wires or, do a little bit of work.
There's utilities going into Park Street from what I was looking at in the utility plan, and then you're doing this a bunch of work. The other thing with Park Street, it's an older street. I mean, that area hasn't been redone in a while in that section, right?
They did that when they did the sewer line.
That area?
Just
no,
up
it's
to that
further.
area.
Just up to
yeah.
that area.
Oh, okay.
It ends before that area. So my concern is you're going to be bringing in a lot of buses into an area that doesn't presently have it, on a roadway that doesn't presently have it. They're going to be stopping and starting and stopping and starting. It's because they're coming into corners, especially if you put streetlights up there. That's going to cause an issue with the asphalt that exists there. And I was thinking that maybe we should upgrade that asphalt now as part of this project instead of trying to set, 5 years down the road, oh geez, the road's all breaking up, and what are we going to do?
generally in a area like this, we would be repaving where the flares of the curves are, the radii of the curves meet on Park Street from the north to the south. That entire section might eventually get repaved, not all at once, you know, maybe half the street and the other half in order to keep traffic going. But that's kind of the limit of the total repaving and of any utility work related to the project. There is some restriping work to get the left turn lanes in and
I see that.
the
I'm
deceleration
I'm
that would
thinking
extend
that
for
there should
hundreds
be,
of feet.
You know, maybe a couple of bus lengths of paving in each direction so that we're handling the stopping and starting and turning of the bus areas coming in and out of that area.
Can I interject? Sorry.
Sure.
The people online aren't seeing the same slides right now. I just got a text message. So they're unable to follow along with what we're showing at the moment.
It says
What
it's
is it,
sharing.
what is it being shared?
We're seeing the working PowerPoint. It's only on the cover slide right now. We could follow along, but if we have to explain any of the slides, it'll be tough.
Do a reshare. You just stop sharing.
If you,
While he's doing that, I have a question for you. The precision door window sign.
yes. I guess there's an agreement to perhaps relocate it. We're not sure we're going to have enough room to get a new school sign, and the sign has to move, first of all. It can't stay where it is.
Right.
But we don't know if we can fit, a replacement sign, or would it be appropriate to have the sign right next to a new school sign on this property? But there may be some other location that can be reached, agreement with the family that owns a.
I think there's also a memorial
business.
stone there.
There is, that just came up while we were in the process of designing this, so that too will have to be relocated. There's one of those blue signs that dedicates the
this
square,
is-
and then there's a stone on the ground. Those will have to be relocated a bit too, to allow for that new curve to come in. But you can see the frontage there is fairly limited.
Right.
So we might have to move it to the north side of the new roadway. But yes, we understand that was just recently placed within the last year, I think, there.
Courtney, can you see it?
We're still seeing the working PowerPoint. We can see the intersection traffic plan slide, but it's not the presentation slide. That makes sense. So as long as both advance,
So
We'll
do
be
you
able
see
to
the
keep up.
lighting?
we're on the traffic plan still.
Is that billboard going to stay there too?
Do you see the lighting
Yeah,
now?
the billboard is
Yes.
about 50 yards north of this intersection, yes.
Courtney, do
Not
you
on
see
the
the
town's
lighting now?
property.
We can see the photometrics plan now.
Okay, I'll
And
keep,
now the
as soon as I
traffic.
put it in presentation mode, it doesn't work, so I'll leave it this way.
Okay.
We're giving everyone a preview now, too. Everyone gets a preview of the next slide, too.
You want the next one?
Yes, we can. So,
So this is just the photometrics plan showing that there are lights throughout the site and within DeStefano Way, within the project limits. And that we're controlling also how much light is leaving the property.
all those little dots have a
Yep.
number. I know you can't read it on this slide, but on the larger print, you can see the numbers, and it goes to 0 at the property line. So there's no light spill going beyond the property.
These all dark skylights?
What's that?
All dark skylights?
Yes, they're all focused down, and they have, what do you call them, blinders too, or?
The shields.
Shields as well.
Next slide.
So the building, as we said, just to give you a brief overview, it's a 3-story building in parts, the classroom wings. Other parts are just 1 story to the front. There are basically 4 wings to the building. Two of the wings are three-story classroom wings. Then there's a one-story administration wing, and the fourth is what we'd call the community wing that has the gymnasium cafeteria and has a dedicated entrance to it. The materials that are being presented, they're sort of highlighted there in the little squares and go along with the colors on the elevation drawings. The building, we call it a school in the woods, and that's kind of the inspiration for some of the choices here, the design and materials. The base has some natural stone material and in color to imitate. There are some rock outcroppings on the site there now. There is some red brick material for a good portion of the material. That's kind of more reminiscent of other public buildings in Stoughton. We wanted to have some traditional red brick as well to make it part of the town. But then the lighter orange materials or wood-colored materials are what are known as fiber cement panels. They're attached on a substructure to the building. And they're, if you can see the windows, they're sort of vertically oriented to somewhat give more of a vertical impression like the trunks of trees in a sense. The windows are more tall and narrow in that regard. There are a few sloped roofs in the building. They tend to slope to the south, partly for solar panels there. So there's one over the gymnasium, another one over the central commons of the building. That would be a standing seam metal roof. Again, a very traditional roofing material there. We're very conscious of the amount of glass in the building. There is a lot at the entrance. We want to get natural light into the school, but we're also trying to use glass strategically throughout the building for energy reasons. So we're careful about where windows are placed in the classroom wings and so forth to get, you know, a good amount of natural light in there, but not to reduce the energy efficiency of the overall envelope of the building. Again, the building's about 42 feet tall. It's 3 stories, 14 feet floor to floor, so that 3 times 14 is 42 feet tall. We do think that's appropriate for this, trying to keep the building compact. The 3 stories actually works nicely with the grade structure too, so that kindergarten and first grade can be on the first floor, second and third grades on the next floor, and fourth and fifth grades on the top floor. So, and it makes for less land disturbance, less foundation, by having it compact. And we find 3 stories is a reasonable height that even, you know, fourth and fifth graders can handle the stairs, and it keeps the grades kind of separated in a way too, which the school district appreciates.
Is there any escalators or elevators in the building?
There's an elevator centrally located, yes. No escalators, but stairs at the end of each wing, and a central stair in the middle, and an elevator centrally located in the middle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the building will be fully handicap accessible throughout. Every toilet room, every level of the building is accessible.
And so is the entire site as well. Outside of the building, it's all graded to be ADA accessible, so all the walkways, the plazas meet the ADA grades.
Yes, yeah. In fact, it's age appropriate too. So that's one reason there are multiple playgrounds on the site. There's one playground dedicated for the youngest kids in kindergarten, and then a separate play structures for the older children, because they're different sizes, different abilities, and so we try to make it not just accessible but age appropriate too.
Next slide.
A rendering of it, and there's sort of the major materials are being shown there. The wood color, that's the fiber cement panels. Then there's some stone color and at the base of the building, and natural brick being shown. The glass in the building will have a green tint to it. You don't really notice that, but as much from the outside. But that too is part of the fact that it's reflecting its location in the woods.
And these are just the larger elevations from the previous slide.
So just a couple of comments on.
Sure.
I know this has been through a lot of design review committees, so that I will probably piss a lot of people off, but I don't like the narrow window style. It just looks like an old prison setup. I mean, honestly, it looks like we're going back in time to go into prisons, and how you're going to have people through a narrow window thing. I just think for a brand-new building we're building, we're going to spend, how much money we spend on this building?
$100 million, somewhere around
$100
there
million,
total.
and to me, that design just doesn't work. But, I'm sure the design review committee come up with some reasonings for it, but it
Well,
just
like we say, we are trying to balance the amount of glass in the building,
No,
too.
I agree. It's just,
I think when you see some of the interior renderings of the commons area in the center of the building, you'll see how much natural light is coming in there. It's a very pleasant space in that regard.
right, but the
I
kids are in
think
their
that may be
classrooms.
the next
The kids are in
view
their
there.
classrooms more than they're out in that
Oh,
common
we're
area.
going to the outside, I'm sorry.
So we didn't provide inside views, it's
Okay.
only exteriors
Yeah.
for site
So
plan.
the inside where all that glass is in the front entrance is bringing a lot of natural light into the building. It's a very open feeling, pleasant to be in. And in the classrooms too, the windows are kind of dimensioned to children too. The sills are low enough and the size kind of evenly illuminates the effect. You can sort of see the classroom setups there as you look at the elevations. Yeah.
We're happy to share some interior views too after this presentation for folks.
Okay. The other question I have is, we have, a lot of times on the roof, we require all utilities to be screened in, in a way of, what's going on. I don't see where your utilities are, but I do see you have solar panels that are rising above the roof. I look at scale, probably 5 feet above the roof or more, and I'm wondering how we're going to deal with.
Yeah,
the
if
screening
you
of
go
those
back to the rendering, next slide, Bill. Next one going forward, I'm sorry. Going forward from where you were, right? I guess maybe it was the earlier one that showed the front entrance of the building. We understand when you look, right there, that's a good one. When you look at the elevation drawings, yes, there are going to be some rooftop units and some solar panels, if they're slightly sloped, that are above the roof edge. But when you think of this as the building's 42 feet tall, from eye level, looking at it three-dimensionally, we think even without roof screens, you won't see those rooftop units. We try to work
Okay,
that
no,
out.
so then what I request you come back is with some perspectives on different points around the building.
we can do
So
that.
that we can see what that looks like, because.
We have exactly those.
We've had
because-
those issues before where people say, you'll never see it, and it shows up, and all of a sudden, oh, no, I can see that.
Understand that.
You know? And you don't want to fix it after the fact, because it costs a lot more money after the
Right.
fact.
No, we appreciate that. As architects, we don't want to see them either. We appreciate the mechanical engineers, but
Right,
we'd
well, but
rather.
mechanicals need to be,
it be
especially
hidden.
mechanical stuff, and, probably a little bit of leeway in the solar, but the mechanical is definitely, but this looks like a lot of solar you're proposing up here with the tilted panels. That's gonna, it's gonna look pretty ugly after a while,
They're all, if you look at this, though, you approach this building from sort of the east side, almost southeast, and the roofs are sloped away from you, so you're not looking at them. You'd have to be in the woods on the other side, and nobody's out there except kids hiking, I guess, or something. But so the public side of the building, the sloped roofs are sloping in the opposite direction, so you won't see those panels. We don't believe.
No, they're somewhat exaggerated also, just to
There's
emphasize
some
that they're
lower
there.
ones. There's some lower ones there that potentially are in the low roof. But even those, from a ground level, we don't believe you'll see them. But we can come back and show you
Yeah, if
some
you
renderings.
show that, and then
from
whatever
eye level.
mechanicals are proposed, I don't know how far along you are with mechanical drawings, but.
Yeah, no, these are accurately drawn with the rooftop units
So
to
if the
scale, so
rooftop
we can
units
do
are
that.
shown, I want to see where they are and what's going on with
Sure.
them. Okay?
We also have the advantage somewhat of, you approach this building from below a little bit.
No, I know, it was my other question. I was
building's
talking
on
about
a
the
higher
grades.
level.
You've got some pretty decent grades going up, the grading going up that hill. to get
Everything's
to where you are.
under 5% though, right? Michelle?
Yes, so the whole site's been designed to be ADA compliant, so that means for all the walkways, that's under 5% for a running slope and under 2% for a cross slope. all the plazas, the open areas in the front of the building, the playgrounds are all under 2% in all directions.
But the roadways themselves are more than 5%, right?
Correct, because the sidewalks follow along with the roadway.
So they're less than 5% or they're more than 5%?
They're less than 5%.
So all the roadways less than 5%?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sorry, just want to figure, you have the large block walls going in as your retaining walls. What's your highest retaining wall in those coming through those areas?
Off the top of my head, I don't recall. I can
Along
follow
the
up.
wetlands
Yeah, so
culvert?
I don't want to give a wrong number. I thought they were like 8 to 15, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It looked like it was somewhere around 15, but I
Yeah.
couldn't,
They
right
do
here it's
require
small, and I'm looking at the
guardrails.
computer,
Yep, so we
I'll
do
look at it.
have, so for the retaining walls, there is a guardrail, and then there's also fencing behind that as well.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I have the big set of plans if you'd like to see them.
I can look at that,
Okay.
between now and the next meeting, I'll look at that. I don't need to get,
I have them right here.
yeah,
They're
I know.
big.
That's fine.
I have a question regarding the solar panels that are depicted in this slide here. We are at approximately 42 degrees latitude. That is the ideal angle for a solar panel. Those look at about 30 degrees. So that means they're going to be higher. And so to shield the mechanicals, our shield will have to be accommodated to
Yeah, our experience has been, I understand the theory, relative to our latitude, but it seems like maybe it's because the efficiency of the panels is increased or something, but a lot of installations where the municipality may not own the panels and a third party's doing it, and they want to maximize how much electricity they're generating, they don't install them at 42 degrees. They tend to keep them lower. Maybe it's partly because of the installation, the bracing. They don't, if they're sloped, they can really catch the wind and they have to be anchored down. If they're lower, they can be weighted down on a frame. So there's some reason that more recently the panels we see, I think the drawings we're showing even at the 30 degrees is more than what we're seeing installed these days. So, but I understand your concern,
The
yes.
41 degree, or using your latitude as the optimum angle, is so that you can optimize both the summer season as well as the, the
And
winter
all
season.
times of day, too, right, yes.
Correct, yeah. Okay, thank you for that.
Understand.
Go ahead.
Quick question. I was reading through the traffic report, and what it said was, for example, Park Street and Turnpike Street, but they don't include 10th Street in there. And 10th Street is, if you're coming from Turnpike Street coming down there, you're not going to go all the way down the park, you're going to cut through 10th Street. So that should actually have a traffic count on 10th Street.
We have gotten some comments from a third-party peer reviewer that did include a suggestion, I believe, of analyzing more intersections than the report does, or the same point you're making, I believe. So,
10th Street's the only street that connects Park to Turnpike,
yes.
other than the triangle at the end at the
gas station.
gas station.
Supposed to eventually have a light intersection.
Roundabout.
Yeah, they're talking a roundabout. I don't know how they'd work that.
That's.
The state sometimes.
Let's
So-
not hold our breath on that one.
So we appreciate that, Peter, that the traffic consultant will be responding to those comments from the peer reviewer, and your comments included in that, I believe. Like I said, that they were asking about what's the logic about why shouldn't we survey some additional intersections, particularly in light of
Especially that
the
street.
redistricting of the school district.
Well, especially that street, because most people won't go down to Park and Turnpike because it's backed up from the Campanelli traffic coming out of there, so. And even Campanelli will cut through there, so they're not getting stuck at the intersection.
Anybody else have any
Good point.
comments? Questions?
Yep.
Yeah, we have our landscape architect, I believe, online, and she can present the playgrounds. Well, the landscaping's right after the playgrounds, but we just wanted to briefly share those with you to let you know what's being
You said
proposed.
there's 2 playgrounds inside or just 1?
There's 2 different play areas, one for the younger children, one for the older students.
Correct. So this is Leah Fang, landscape designer from IMAC. So I believe right now we're looking at the older playground, which is in the back of the building, and it's in like the fenced-off area. Like it would not be accessible to traffic during the middle of the day. And the whole area is being designed with flash curbing. And so basically we do not want to introduce any tripping hazard from like where the kids running out of the school building and to like getting access to the playground. So we have a separate swing area, and then with like an active flex lawn, and then with the main structure, introducing some grading changing. So there's basically a little loop path that the kids can running around all under 5%, and then with a separate climbing structure.
Next slide, Bill.
So this is, we're looking at to another corner at the rear side of the building that is dedicated for outdoor learning, and 6 raised planter for like science class and student activities. So we're basically going back to the overall landscape plan, and the 2 slides I just talked to are all more focusing on the traffic controlled area towards the back of the building. And I think early on, some of the slides we kind of went through fast are the younger play area, and which is kind of tucked to the corner of and the drop-off area and the small faculty parking. And if you go to the next slide, please, thank you. So now we're entering some of the more detailed planting strategy. So overall, we are proposing everything native or native cultivar. And we're looking, basically each of these slides will be looking at some dedicated area and the planting material that are proposed in this area. So this slide, we're looking at the storm basin. And we can go to the next slide, please. And this is the front plaza, which also, tagging back to Michelle's point, this is also the 3 planting area that are kind of on their own little island, break apart by the pavement, are also serviced as the rain garden and little basin. And so we have plant materials that can handle like very temporarily standing water. And we can go into the next slide, please. So this is getting towards like the backside of the building, and this is towards the outside of the gymnastic area, and for outdoor cafe and outdoor recess ball court area. So this outside this fenced-in area, there will be like a major slope going down and connecting to one of the existing tree area that we intend to save. And so we are more introducing the native conservation seed mix with some screening evergreen. So we can go into the next slide, thank you. So this going back to the outdoor classroom that we were looking at the rendering earlier. And so at this area, because we are intent to have the students and teachers to be outdoor at like different seasons throughout the semester. So we are trying to introduce just seasonal colors and interests that can be a part of tying to this like school in the wood idea, and introducing just general native planting materials. Next slide, please. So this going back to the older playground area, and same thing, native plants and seasonal interest throughout the school semesters. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I believe this is the last slide for the planting material, and we are coming back to the younger play area. And this is one of the area we're introducing a bit more shrubs in between the faculty parking, and the shrubs will be outside of the fenced zone, providing screening between the parking and the play area. I think that's the landscape part of the content.
That's it. We did meet with the school department too to understand how they would, maintain the landscaping, and that's why you see a lot of trees and shrubs. There's not a lot of grass to be mowed here. It's a very natural kind of approach with limited amount of lawn areas, or certainly no flower, kind of areas that need weeding and a lot of that. Right now, it's an alternate in our thinking as to whether that field, that rectangular grass playing field, will be irrigated or not. At the elementary school level, sometimes it doesn't get the amount of use that some other recreational fields get, but we will evaluate that. We're looking at that possibility.
On the legend, you've got the Asa Red Point as a 3-gallon. I would imagine that's a 3-inch caliper.
That should be a 3-inch caliper. That is our mistake.
And the same goes for the American Elm. You've got 3-gallon. I imagine, again, that's 3-inch caliper.
3-inch caliper. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank
I wouldn't want any guy to bid on that and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to put 3-gallon plants.
There you go. Thanks. So thank you very much. As we said, we have received some comments and we're working on responses to those. We're not prepared to
Anybody else
share them
would
yet.
have any other comments or questions? Greg?
Yeah, I just want to, just echo what Carl just said, that we did prepare our technical review in-house, typically, as Bill and I do for most projects. We also sent the project out for peer review for traffic and stormwater. You have a copy of that. And then at the Conservation Commission hearing last week, the commission requested that peer review be done for environmental issues associated with the notice of intent application, and that will be performed by GPI as well. So we have continuity with the peer review consultant on those items. We've gotten the initial reports or reviews from the consultant for the traffic and stormwater. We'll be awaiting the third leg of that for the environmental issues, and we'll start working through that with the designers.
I have one more question. Do you have like retention areas or anything that are going to be requiring chain link fencing around them? You do, okay.
Yes, so the stormwater system on the other side of DeStefano Way, the sand filter basin, we are proposing a chain link fence around that because water will be ponding, and it will be a few feet at the height of a storm. However, it is designed that water drains out of there within 72 hours. But again, because it's a larger system, there is a chain link fence. We are in the most recent drawings, and we will be submitting revised drawings as we're working through the peer review, a mountable granite curb at the edge, and then a gravel path so vehicles can enter into that area and then go traverse around the basin as well to maintain it. The rain gardens in the front, the smaller ones, they are designed so water ponds up to 6 inches within there, and then it'll drain out. So again, because they are so close to the entrance, and this is younger children, we don't want standing water or any kind of risk for that. So it's really, as an outdoor classroom, those rain gardens are, it shows the function, water will pond, but then it drains almost immediately out of there.
And how large are those rain garden areas?
The rain gardens are a couple thousand square feet.
Okay.
Max, I think, total.
Right.
They're fairly small. The the sand filter basin across the street is significantly sized because it is taking and treating the stormwater for the DeStefano Way.
Thank you.
What's the maintenance plan for some of those stormwater catch-alls?
Yep. So we did submit an O&M plan as part of the stormwater report. So for the rain garden, about quarterly, you want to just check so that there's no garbage in there, pick up the litter, stuff like that. I think it's about every 25 years, you really want to change out that soil medium.
What, say 25 years?
25 years or so.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. And then the same with, and then you kind of, if there's like a grassy plant, you kind of want to mow it, twice a year max. The sand filter on the other side of the road, so the bottom is, so the soil medium is sand. That's what's providing the stormwater treatment. Above that, so what's going to be visible is rocks. So really, it's just kind of pulling the weeds if they're there, pull the trash out of there. And then the side slopes are going to be vegetated, so those you just mow, once a year, twice a year kind of thing. And that's really it for those basins, the way it's designed.
So that falls under the school department though, right?
I believe that is still a discussion point, and
Typically, the infrastructure on the school sites is maintained by the schools.
Okay.
Anything else on the board? Anybody from the public would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Let's see, here, sir.
State your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Lester Davis at 557 Park Street, Stoughton, Mass. I have a couple of concerns. First, coming out on Route 27 all hours of the day is a very bad situation. I wait sometimes 5 and 10 minutes coming out, and that's just down the street from where the school is proposed. I would love to see the town make the DeStefano Way all the way to Summer Street, where that was proposed for the fire department. When the fire department wanted it, it will create a safety situation for the old Goddard Hospital in that direction for Summer Street, that the times that in that zone, they can't get through under 7 minutes to that area, which is critical for that. The other thing that wasn't addressed is animals in that area. I don't know if people realize there's at least a dozen deer in that area, and more than that in turkeys in that area for safety. I don't know how the school is going to address that or look at that, where that area is in the woods. They're there at all times, and other small animals. On Route 27, it would be great if there is a turning lane from the south side going south to turn into the driveway of the school.
I think they did show that on their drawing.
They showed it on the north side, but I didn't see it on the south side.
No, they saw it on the south side.
Okay. Yeah. Because you really need that as well.
I realize that, yeah.
Some type of thing there. And the Stefano Way is very narrow right now, and depending on how they engineer it, and the wetlands that go abutting that area, just have to be addressed. I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, David Weiner from 51, oops. David Weiner from 51 Cabral Circle. My main concern is noise. I was wondering how much noise the mechanics on the roof are going to have.
Which noise went?
The mechanics on the roof, the equipment heating.
That was one of the questions I did have for them. The mechanicals aren't shown on the roof right now.
As I've had issues in the past when I lived on Corbett Road when they built an industrial park in the back with the press company behind us, and they didn't mention anything about noise, and all of a sudden, they were operating 24/7 with big vacuum cleaners up on their roof, and I just...
I don't know the answer. It was one of the questions we had for you.
Okay, and also, is there still going to be a buffer zone of woods between property and Cabral that's existing now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You want to speak?
Hi, Heidi Tucker, Precinct 3, I'm sorry, 8, and FinCom member.
You need your address.
264 Pearl Street. And mine's real short and sweet. The storage container that you had that was like maybe going to be there, maybe not. There will be a storage unit somewhere on property. Every school in Stoughton has some sort of trailer storage unit. My request is that it not be on the opposite side of the parking lot from the building and that it be closer to the building, because chances are the PTO is going to be using that, and to have to go there and drive it, put it in your car, drive it across over to the school versus just getting some sort of little hand truck or some sort of cart and just going right outside the school, putting it in. So if it could be in the back of the school instead of far away, it's a work smarter, not harder type of thing, because it's like it's already hard to get volunteers, and if you have to lug stuff all the way across the parking lot, it's just one more challenge that volunteers have to face to raise money to support the students.
Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, I'm assuming you're going to want to continue this to the next meeting?
Well, actually, they don't have their Concom until January 29th. So we've discussed a February 12th meeting.
Do we, so we would like to formally request a continuance to the February 12th hearing.
So made.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank you.
February 12th.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
Weather permitting.
Can I have, where are we? Oh, meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes.
Lost my agenda.
Do we have a set of meeting minutes?
I didn't print them because I emailed them to
Oh, so
everyone.
it's the ones that we emailed? Okay, I did read those.
So I
Okay,
emailed you the meetings of August 21st, September 11th, and November 13th.
Gentlemen,
I had-
the meeting minutes that were emailed to you for August 11th, what's the dates?
No, August 21st,
August 21st.
November 11th, and, I'm sorry, September 11th, and November 13th.
Have you had a chance, they're not in your packet, they were emailed to you. Did you have a chance to review them online?
I did.
You've read them? Okay.
I have read them, no comment.
No comment, okay. So can I have a motion to approve those meetings as a...
approve those meetings?
There is one spot where you wrote landscape and you don't have the E on the end. I think it's on the second.
Can I have a second to that motion, please? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, one other item, Bill has put a memorandum in our packet for the planning board meeting schedule for the times and the dates that we've got coming up for the following year. Not bad. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, you have to do that because I have to go down 2 or 3 weeks prior to the end of the year and put it in the book, or we might not have this room.
Right.
And then we still get bumped out of this room.
All right, so can I have a motion to end this meeting?
Quick question before you do that. The police station, do they have cameras set up to televise the meetings?
Not simply, but yes.
Yeah, there is some stuff for the I have a police station or library. I haven't decided.
Right.
I would prefer a library, than
Okay.
the police station. So,
Do live there? They can't do live, they can
no,
record.
they can't do live at the police station. They have better video equipment at the library.
Okay,
Except we can't get it to work, but that's.
that's another.
Well,
That was a tricky one.
You had two engineers that couldn't get it to work.
Motion to approve.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, I thought we had to approve
I
this.
already approved them.
All right. Okay, motion to adjourn, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Do we have anything to sign, Bill?
Yes.